Hi, Ami. It's Andrea. I should say Jedi Ferdai, since you have given me that new name when I was whining that I'm the only person in the whole World Wide Web that doesn't have a fake name. So I am responding as Jedi Ferdai. Um, and in all seriousness, because I loved where you took our conversation from the idea of leadership and the thought that we're all leaders and how can we all be leaders and the importance of us all taking leadership in ways that we can to the next sort of logical question, and that one's about education. How do you educate leaders? And is educating leaders just about what they learn in school or what we might learn in, as you said, our faith groups or our community groups? It might be nice if we could rely on that, but what we know is that our schools are struggling to even teach our children cognitive skills. Far too many of them are not being well educated, and so that's a place where we're clearly struggling from a policy and from a country, from an institutional perspective, and it's a big and important issue to talk about. But and then, like you said, churches, there seem to be so much a part of this polarized discussion about what is what's right, what's wrong. First of all, that piece of education, and then also to get more to your point, what values should we have? What should be important to us? What constitutes a character of contribution to community and world, of caring for fellow humans of all types, for caring for the environment, both the physical environment and also the emotional and social environment, and the idea of equality in our world, which of course encompasses so many things. And I think that's it's a really critical question. And I think it may be that we can't rely on institutions to teach that. Not that they shouldn't try a lot harder than they are. I really think they ought to. I think that they've got to. I wish they'd stop the polarization. They're all sort of for funding reasons and for distinguishing themselves, kind of going into one camp or another and then hunkering down, and so that they can be seen as the church or the school or the community that is about this, and versus the other church or community or school that's about that. That only increases the polarization and the haves and the haves not effect that is pulling us apart to our own detriment and hurting our world and certainly our future. So if it's citizens, then if we're it, and you touched on the idea of family, and as a parent, I guess I would have to say that, yeah, of course it's our job as parents, and yet we are parenting in a culture that is almost completely, if you look at from a superficial view, what's on TV, what's promoted even in schools, what's promoted in business. It's all about competition. It's all about, in so many cases, win or lose. And so much of it is worse. So much of it is really brutal. I'm not saying, I don't want to totally indict, everybody that is involved in, creating anything that we consume as consumers of media or of education. But the fact is the prevailing sense that so many of us have is that's pretty much junk food. It's not soul food in far too many cases. So parents are fighting that. How do I raise my children to be children of ethics in a world that promotes and lifts up unethical behavior, and even when it acknowledges the dangers and the risks of valueless living and working, and even then it's sort of taking a side. Well, then this is the right way and that's the wrong way, and it just doesn't make it, and it's hurting us. And it leaves us in more troubles rather than fewer, it seems, too often. So then it seems we're it. And so then how do you and I, the question is, and I think this is what you were getting at, how we can do this in videos or with what we've got, which is humble, and yet, we're passionate too. So what can you and I do as two citizens with whatever skills that we've got, with videos, I think that's something we're both sort of committed to. How can we create a way of not only discussing character and values and ethics and dignity and higher order thinking and caring for one another, for our world, for our environment, for our communities, and for humans other than our own. How can we do that? You and I, how can we start that with our work? And then how can it be not about us and what we say as much as about the collective efforts of many others that we are connecting with and trying to create substantive and visible changes in our world with what you and I have, starting with our Me Too videos. So I'm going to leave that one to you. It's a big question, and we'll probably need to sort it out a little bit. But I guess I just want to support that. I think what we're talking about is not so much, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, not so much, you and I going out and enlisting policymakers or lobbyists or doing a petition. Maybe that's part of it, and I'm certainly open to any discussion. But I think what you and I both value is this idea of relational change and how can our videos create co-relational change with others and do it in some sort of a way that it spreads and does create real meaningful change. So looking forward to your response. Thanks. Bye.